We are indeed live, which means I can press this button and we can go. That music that you love.
Oh,
back.
I got some nice music that we can use that we have to pay royalties on.
Yes, well, we have to pay some money on it. This we don't.
This we don't want to do.
No, we don't.
So if anybody out there has questions about NERDCON, we are going to be looking at that first thing once the show officially starts in 5 minutes. Please post them or tweet them because we would love to have some questions.
Yeah, let's go to my Q&A because I haven't got that fired up yet, but there we go. Questions. Then again, we've got a couple of people who've joined us, and of course, come on, you've got a couple of minutes now. You can spread the word and let everyone know that we are now live, and we're going to head straight into it in about 4 minutes' time. As it says on the screen, we are looking for support, of course. If you are a company that wants to sponsor the Hangouts, give us a shout, please. Head to com/contact-us, or you can sponsor the Hangout using Patreon and go to patreon.com/EnglishmanSDCC. Basically, what you're doing is allowing us to keep doing what we're doing, which means kind of paying for mobile data, paying for the site, paying for the site to get up and running and continue that all running. But yes, by all means, please, we could do your support. Not only that, but you'll also be kept up to date with all sorts of things in the fire at the moment, which is all exciting stuff. Hello to Andrew English watching from London. Hello to Michael P watching from Colorado Springs. Graham Smalls watching as well. If you are watching, jump in on the Q&A, jump in on Twitter as well, Englishman SDCC. Use the hashtag #CupOTSDCC. And of course, any questions you have, not only for our guests coming from NERDCON, but also for Shane CHEBSEY, who is the organizer of the ICE International Comics Expo, which takes place in Birmingham, UK in 2 weeks' time.
Do I have a moment
Have you managed
for a cup of tea to get my tea?
You do. I was going to ask you about your press experiences, but no, go for it. Go get your cup of tea.
I will be back momentarily.
We'll talk about that when you come back. Yeah, so the reason why we do this 5-minute countdown is to kind of get ourselves nicely settled, because obviously YouTube every once in a while gives us a bit of a funny turn. Settle into it. Don't forget as well, starting, I think we're going to be starting next week, actually, a couple of weeks ahead of when Google do their transition from Google Plus to YouTube Live. We're going to be doing a bit of a test drive next week of how this new setup is going to be implemented. We're actually going to be hosting the thing and the Hangout through YouTube Live next week, which means the Q&A is going to be kind of ditched, which is a bit unusual, but we're going to see how that works. We're going to see how communication goes with you guys, because that's what it's all about. So 60 seconds and I'll do my intro. Hopefully Alyssa will be back soon. She's getting her cup of tea. Hopefully you've got yours too. I'm going to try and make it an insistent thing that if we have access to a kettle, that everyone who has a cup of tea to hand.
I do. I don't know
Excellent.
if you see this, but I actually have a cup of real tea. Earl Grey is my choice.
Hey. I know that I'm supposed to be British and therefore I'm supposed to love Earl Grey. I don't know. I'm a mixed bag. I'm kind of like a lap song kind of guy.
I tend to like the Earl Grey hot. If you get the reference.
I do get the reference. I wonder where that comes from. Yeah. Then of course I can turn around and say that I prefer Yorkshire tea.
Yeah. I'm getting ready.
What's this from Graham Small? Earl Grey isn't real tea.
Ah.
What? What?
I don't believe that. I'm getting ready for next weekend at Star Trek for Star Trek missions.
Ah, yes. So you can talk about that in a bit.
Actually, getting all of my Star Trek references together.
Cool. So once again, do support us on patreon.com/EnglishmanSDCC. So there we go. If I stop that and turn that off, and it's all over to me. Plenty of people on the old hangouts. Oh, now a bit of background noise there, but that's because we are going to be going to NERDCON very soon indeed. So a bit of a live report. Welcome to Talkin Comic-Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. This is our weekly hangout podcast thing where we talk San Diego Comic-Con, con culture, and all the stuff and nonsense that surrounds it. Each and every week we talk about the cons that are happening around the globe, in North America, in England, wherever there is a con happening, because con culture is just everywhere. Do let us know where there's a con near you, and especially if you're heading to there and you'd like to jump in on the hangout and do a live report. We'll do the one that someone has suggested in a second. But first things first, let's do our bit of our introduction with my partner in crime, Alyssa Franks from the Friends of C2 Forum. Hello, Alyssa. How are you?
I'm well. I'm getting ready for Star Trek missions next weekend, where we will also be having a report from the con on Sunday. I'm going to be doing some daily blogging from there, so I'll be posting every day. The first day, I think, is primarily going to be about gaming. There's a really neat new VR game that I hope to talk about next week, to have experienced and talk about next week. It's from Ubisoft. But primarily, I really want to take a moment and just to celebrate and honor the late Jack Kirby's birthday today.
Absolutely.
He is 90. He would have been 99. Twitter is doing a celebration called #WakeUpAndDraw. Just search for it. There's some amazing art happening today on Twitter. I just blew me away, some of the stuff that's happening. So I just wanted to mention that before we got going with NERDCON and ICE and next week's Star Trek and all of that sort of stuff. How has your week been, Leonard?
It's been fun and games. Yes, I've been working on my little secret project, which if you are a supporter on Patreon, you'll know a little bit more about that, a bit of the background. But yeah, hopefully that's going to start showing some fruit in the next week or so. But yes, not only is the Wake Up and Draw taking place in honor of Jack Kirby on Twitter, but it's also been celebrated at a number of cons. There was a couple of cons happening in London, and I think also at NERDCON they celebrated it as well. Speaking of which, my segue there, you noticed. We mentioned that there were several cons happening over the next couple of weeks, and Samantha Maybe jumped in and said that she would be heading to NERDCON, as would also be Dan Berry, who I think is holding the camera at the moment. Now, this is where I have to try and sort of like unmute Samantha, because we had this issue before, if you remember. Oh no, there she is. We have sound. Hello, Samantha. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you guys?
Not too bad. So you are joining us from NERDCON at Escondido in California. Well, first things first, who is this beside you?
This is the lovely Catherine Elhofer of Elhofer Designs. Alana, if you want to pan up onto her logo back there. She is a wonderful, wonderful creator of nerdy dresses like the one I'm wearing right now and she's wearing, and the one I wore yesterday.
And pretty much your whole closet.
Pretty much my whole closet. Oh, make sure you get the Rebel fighter dress.
Oh, yeah, we're getting a full... Oh, wow.
She's just skyrocketed in terms of her media presence and everything within the past year, not even
less than a year,
like 10 months.
Yeah.
I think the first time you ever spoke to me online was in October. So.
Yep.
Well, I think it's safe to say that kind of like nerd and geek culture has really been a big thing in the media in the last, say, 6 months or so.
Yeah, I call it geek bound. It's similar to Disney bounding, where you dress up like in the colors and silhouettes of the character without actually wearing the costume. And yeah, it's important to me to be subtle but geeky, because it's how I personally like dress for the day, to feel empowered and ready for the war of the outside world.
Yeah,
I think I think that's the fine line that people have been trying to draw. Because there was something, or there's been some things that have been posted over the last, sort of over the course of the weekend, and it was not subtle at all. These kind of like suits that they've been doing around. But the ones, I mean, certainly like the designs I'm seeing on screen at the moment, they're really very sleek lines and very cool colors.
Yeah, there's Here Within. It does a really great men's DC collection too. Like they're amazing for menswear. But the new stuff that was just announced like has me worried.
So how's the response been from people at NERDCON? Well, this is also to Samantha as well. What's the focus at NERDCON? What's the kind of what's the con about?
I mean, to me, I think a lot of the focus has been on things that are for fans by fans. Like, so much of this has been about people like Catherine who are making pieces like this to wear every day, or cosplay pieces, or people who are doing their own art here, or people who make fan-made movies. Like, the focus is very much on people creating their own content and creating the nerd world for themselves. So that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, you've had your fashion shows.
Yeah, there's the Nerd Chic fashion show, and then it's also it's very busy, but it feels like it's so spread out that it just feels nice. Like it's at a park setting too, outside. Like you can hop outside and be in greenery and like smell grass, which is amazing because I'm used to Comic-Con where it's
smell a few other things too.
Yeah. But it's a lot of like small companies here, as opposed to at the bigger cons where it's the corporations.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we're getting a bit of a pan there. I mean, I'm presuming it's 10 o'clock there now, so it's just getting into the Sunday. What was yesterday like?
It was slow in the morning, and then it picked up right around the fashion show, which is at 1, and then 1:30 today. It gets a lot busier. I think it's because people are waking up and actually leaving the house, as opposed to, like, I don't know, Saturday mornings I sleep in, so I can see where no one came until like noon.
I think a lot of people are local, so they're probably sleeping in and then coming later, as opposed to just getting here right when it opens.
Yeah.
Cool. Any questions, Alyssa?
It doesn't. I mean, it seems as though that the panels are starting around 11:30. So they're. Are you guys able to hear me? Oh, nice!
Oh, wow!
That's amazing.
She's wearing another one of my pieces.
I'm just going to say, we also do an audio. We do an audio version of this podcast, and this is going to be of no use to anybody. Let's see if we can describe what we're seeing. We've just had someone modeling one of the pieces, and it is a Star Trek. I mean, it's very much the motion picture, which I love. I love the motion picture designs, the uniform designs. She disappeared again.
Touched on. Victoria and I worked forever on like figuring out the exact color because she wanted it to be the darker red, but this is a nicer fabric. So, but it opens up, or she can close it back up and be like full on. I love it so much. And look at it, she made these earrings out of a friendship bracelet, a friendship necklace.
It's from the QMX, yeah.
Yeah, and so she turned them into earrings.
The necklace, but I'm like, I'm looking at that.
I mean, it's like you say. I mean, it's something you can wear casually. It's not just full-blown kind of like nerd geek to show. It's something you can wear out about. I think that's really, really nice.
Yeah, I term it with some other people I work with of like it's a secret handshake, or it's fitting in amongst the muggles. It's something that like when you're a fellow geek, you know what that is. But if you're not a geek, you're just like, oh, it's a nice color, it's a nice cut, it's a nice shape. Like it makes it look good. So. Or like you're wearing the Hufflepuff wrap dress, which is like fellow Hufflepuffs were like black and yellow, gray and yellow. That's Hufflepuff. But if you're not a Hufflepuff, it's just a cool dress. It looks really good on her.
Excellent.
Oh.
So I mean, go on, Alyssa.
Your designs remind me a lot of Tony Kim's designs with just very subtle geek references. I think he did a suit coat with a Batman on the back, which is just stunning.
So beautiful. Tony and I knew each other through friends, and so when I was doing my stuff, one of our mutual friends, Kim, was constantly showing him, like, we need to work together. And so as soon as his stuff launched, he was like, can we please team up and do something similar? Because we have such similar aesthetics and such similar views of what geek fashion should be. So we were working on doing some team-up stuff, because
it's geek fashion for everyday life, so you can wear your geek with and still brand yourself a little bit without being overly like that Iron Man suit that we all saw. Just a little over the top for most of us, I think, on a daily basis.
Well,
so
I saw that as like something that like people that aren't nerds, like my parents are not nerds. They see that and that's what they imagine I do and what all of us other geek fashion people do. Yeah, those horrible suits. So it to me it's degrading to what we do and who we are to be like, well, that's geek fashion. Like, no, there's really, really good geek fashion out there, but that becomes the center, like the focal point for like the Fox News type people, where it's just like, well, this is what it is. Isn't it silly and funny and stupid? Like.
It's the laughing at the geeks as opposed to with us. I purchased, I don't know if people can see, but I did actually purchase myself a Star Trek emblem necklace, which is so subtle and just like all of your creations are, you have to be in the know to know what you're looking at, and that's beautiful. It seems like the whole convention is really focused on cosplay.
Is that the Rock Love, like, Think Geek necklace?
No, this was the, I forget who did it. I can't get it off now. It's just a Star Trek emblem. Yes, I think it was Think Geek. You're absolutely right.
Because Rock Love's another friend of mine. She and I have been friends since back in high school, actually. And so it's funny how, like, my aesthetic is so similar to all the people that I've surrounded myself with too, and so she and I are stuff too. Because jewelry should go like you're wearing a necklace that fits perfectly with your neckline of your dress, and so I want jewelry that matches with what I'm designing that fits the necklines, because I do higher necklines sometimes. So. Well,
I mean, anyway. I'm wearing as you can see there, if I can just take that off, that is, no, it's not, it just looks, it's a ring, it's a wedding ring, but it looks like the One Ring, so I'm okay with it. So
that's fine. It looks like it, like you're Frodo right now, like that's all that matters.
It would explain the feat, it really would. So
are you going to get a chance to get to any of the panels that are happening? I noticed there's some really nice cosplay panels happening.
Actually, funny story about the panels. They actually happen like 5 feet away from Catherine's booth. This room is the strangest thing I've ever seen in a convention. The panel stage is right in one of the vendor rooms. So not only can we hear the panel right now, but they can probably hear us too, which is just really strange to me and distracting.
Can we have a wander down? Can we have a just a look at outside?
Yeah, we can take you outside for a second.
Let's have a bit of a tour.
Maybe Dan
by the way, I think just an introduction. We've got Dan Berry on camera as well. Hello, Dan.
Yes, he's here.
That's lovely.
Okay,
That's really nice.
We're gonna walk outside. He wants to see the outside area.
Oh, is he? I think who's on camera?
Yeah, he's right here. But yeah, this is very.
Hi, Dan. How are you doing, Dan?
Very different. It's kind of like how has a main stage right in the middle of the floor too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't been there yet.
Okay. Yeah, they have their big stage right in the middle of the exhibit hall, which is kind of different.
Yeah, it's very odd. There's a bunch of different buildings that they're using for all the panels and vendors and exhibitors. But I don't know. It's nice to have it spread out, but it's also a little disconnected.
Right. So, I mean, let's talk about NERDCON then. I mean, is this the first time that you two have been to NERDCON? I mean, you haven't been together. You've kind of connected just for the hangout.
Yeah.
Is this your first time at NERDCon, Dan, Samantha?
This is my first time.
Yeah, my first time here as well.
Right. So, you've no idea how it's evolved or how it's grown at all?
Well, I think they said last year it was just a one-day panel. This year they extended to 2.5 days.
Wow. So your typical con culture explosion there.
Yeah. It definitely seems like it's gotten a lot of attention this year.
Yeah.
Which is great. For the most part, I really enjoyed it. I just think it's weird to have panels and vendors in the same room. That's all.
Yeah.
So the shows that are on that are in the vendors room, are those the main stage shows, or
Yeah.
are those the side stage?
No, some of the biggest ones were in there. All the fashion shows are in there. A lot of the cosplay panels are in there. The Snape and the Marauders panel, that was a big draw. I think that one was in there as well.
The voice actors panel and
The
the
voice actors panel,
cartoon.
yep. A lot of their biggest guests appeared in that room, and it was really difficult to hear them. Yeah, also there were no moderators at any of the panels.
Excuse me?
The hosts brought all the guests out, they introduced them, and then they just left. It was just the guests on the stage. They had to run the whole panel themselves. Strangest thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
I mean, I don't think you can quite see the look on myself and Alyssa's faces right now, which is just, whoa.
What are they thinking? Haven't they been to a con before?
Right. In fairness, the guests did a pretty good job of moderating themselves, but that shouldn't be necessary.
Yeah.
At very least, the organizers of the convention should have one host who at least keeps things going and moderates a little bit, and at least provides them with some questions. I am shocked. So I see today's on the side stage. There's panels like anyone can cosplay. There's and a cosplay contest. Is that usually a big draw? The contest that they have, a lot of competition.
Yeah, there were some cosplay competitions yesterday also, but we didn't actually get into. We didn't go to any of them, but I think they had like an adult one and a kids one each day.
I went to the adult one and it was pretty good. Yeah.
This is very cool. Okay, I mean, just to answer a couple of comments on the Q&A as well. This is regarding back to the Star Trek dress. Does it come in blue and gold as well? And
yes.
Can we find out where we get purchase some of those clothes? We'll put some of the details certainly for those designs. I'm certain Samantha will link to it as well. We'll put them in the description in the show notes.
Catherine will customize anything. Your best bet is just to talk to her directly on Twitter. She's very responsive. So.
Excellent. Well, I mean, I was just going to suggest just for like heading to the little panel room to the side of you, but you've gone for a wander. Where are you now?
We're outside one of the main stages that's outside. They do some of the cosplay stuff out here. They did a big group photo out here last night, and this is where they do karaoke with Loki, which was pretty funny to watch. There's one of the best-known Loki cosplayers, Loki Hates You. He's been doing karaoke the whole weekend. So yesterday he was cosplaying as Loki from the Loki for President comic book run, which is really funny to watch him on stage singing in that cosplay. So
I mean, the one thing that is kind of striking me about what I'm seeing is it's very much kind of like A4 printer, sticky tape, and it's very kind of rough and ready, which is gorgeous. Is it that kind of DIY con vibe to it?
A little bit. I mean, I feel like everyone knows where they need to go. Like the vendors and people, like they know where they need to go, but as an attendee, I feel kind of on my own. Like I need to go seek out everything myself. Like there's not a lot of con attendants or anything, like people around to help you, show you around. There's not a ton of security. For instance, I shouldn't have been able to go into that room and see Catherine this morning, but I just walked right in.
Yeah, me and I saw the people with attendee badges, but that's just open until 11, so.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm glad I was able to walk in there, but technically speaking, I should not have been able to do that. So, I don't know, a lot of it, like I said, it's very for fans, by fans, and
is it more like a bunch of friends putting on something on a weekend, and it just happened to have exploded into something quite major?
I mean, I would say yes, but it's like the biggest group of friends I've ever seen putting something together on a weekend. Like there are a lot of groups here, a lot of people. Like I don't want it to sound like it's horrible and really disorganized. I don't think that's the case. It's just a small, really fan convention, and we're just here to celebrate being fans.
just friendly and intimate.
Any
Yeah.
idea about how many people, the attendance
I
on
don't know.
this?
200
Couple
maybe.
thousand?
Let's see a couple thousand.
What was that, sorry, Dan?
Couple thousand, a lot of things.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably close, at least close to 1,000 for sure. It hasn't been really common, which has been nice.
Yeah. So spread out. That. Yeah.
How many people, like out of 10 people, how many people are cosplaying? Are a lot of the attendees cosplaying, or is it more people looking?
I mean, most people, I would say most people have made an effort to at least wear something nerdy. Not a lot of people in like plain clothes trying to hide their fandoms or anything. Like almost everyone's wearing something to celebrate the fact that they're a nerd. So a lot of people wearing like a nerdy t-shirt and jeans but carrying around props or something. But there's definitely a lot of cosplayers, a lot of people on stilts.
Right, okay. Let's get this out of the way, shall we? Because
Absolutely.
I kind of glimpsed this on social media. Can you please explain to me what the business is with the pogo sticks and why is there being controversy?
I honestly don't know anything about the pogo stick situation. I heard about it yesterday, but I didn't hear anything from other attendees or anyone working on the floor, so I don't know if you heard anything, Dan, but I don't know a thing about the pogo sticks.
I heard nothing about that.
I'm going to have to research this because this is just ridiculous. Basically, from what I'm hearing, basically someone did bring a pogo stick. There was an incident where someone has an accident or whatever, at which point they have now banned pogo sticks. Now, I understand banning selfie sticks.
Yes.
Fine. Pogo sticks is not something you expect to read in the fine print of a con. It's very, very bizarre.
No, it's not.
Yes,
yeah,
it-
sorry, I don't have anything
okay.
to talk about that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to chase up Con Shark, Sarah Merton on Twitter, because they're basically just gone how to get pogo sticks banned at a con in 4 easy steps. Bring a pogo stick, crash the pogo stick, break ankle, call paramedics. Fair enough. That, you know what? It's gonna make my packing next year so much easier. That I don't have to bring my pogo stick to California. It's nice to know. It's useful.
I know how much you pogo.
I know. So I mean, let's talk about your experiences then. What have been your highlights, both yourself and Dan, of NERDCON this weekend?
Oh goodness, the voice actors panel was really interesting. It was a lot of fun to see a lot of the older guys who influenced all the shows we watched in our childhood up on stage, even though they had to moderate themselves. Yeah, that was really good. They were funny. They all read a script from an upcoming novelization of a G.I. Joe episode that never aired, so that was fun.
And when they did the Pulp Fiction read of Smurfs, that was pretty funny.
Yes.
Yeah, what's been your highlight, Dan?
The voice actors panel was fun. The video games, all the Hunger Games cosplay competition was fun. The cosplay contest was interesting. I think those were my 3 highlights.
As a member of press, what's been the kind of focus for you? Have you been interviewing anybody at all?
No, because I guess if you want to interview somebody here, you probably just have to set them up with the person itself, as opposed to like San Diego Comic-Con where they email you directly.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
What are you guys
My
planning
camera
on
woman,
doing?
what her highlight was. Here.
What was that, Samantha? Oh, hello.
My camera woman wants to tell us her highlight of her.
Go for it. Well, what was your highlight? Hi there.
Anna, hi, nice to see you guys. Yeah, my highlight personally was the Snape and the Marauders panel. I had not heard about the fan film prior to coming to this con, and it was actually really wonderful. They screened the short, and we watched it. It was really, really excellent. And then the director, the people who did the score, and most of the cast were there. It was really fantastic. They were really energetic, and again, they did a really great job of moderating themselves. But it was a really wonderful panel, and it made me want to go and learn more about that specific project and the people who were involved in that project. So I feel like it really succeeded in terms of doing what I would hope projects do at a convention like this, that's really focused on things for nerds by nerds. You know, it seemed like it was one of the most successful panels we saw, and it was just a real joy to be at. So that was really cool. My highlight, personally.
Excellent. Is that a project that was in progress at the moment?
It was completed earlier this year. Yeah, it was all done through crowdfunding, and they were here at NERDCON last year. That was the first panel that they appeared at, and I think it finished in February or March. So yeah, this was their second time coming to NERDCON. They had a lot of support last year, so they decided to come again and bring some of the cast and talk to everybody who supported them.
Well, I can imagine it is that kind of thing where NERDCON was where they went to kind of raise the funds, and this is their coming out party. It's their giving back to those people that donate. I think that's fantastic. Excellent. So,
I've just put that up.
There. Oh, go on, Alyssa.
I've just put that up on the Q&A, so people can take a look for it, do a Google search for it. So, what are you guys' plans for today?
Let's see.
Sorry to stop you so early. Let's see. What is?
No, it's got all
This
this
is-
stuff.
They have visual on the badges. It's just handy. Mine doesn't, though. My badge is
Oh, that's
weird.
brilliant. That is very nice.
Two different kinds of badges, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm probably going to hit the cosplay contest up, and then, yeah, there's a Doctor Who cosplay panel, and then the cosplay contest right after that. So I'll probably hit both of those up.
Lots of cosplays.
I'm just going to say, I'm detecting quite a priority. A focus. It's definitely about dressing up. Cool.
Well, it seems like, from what I can see, on Saturday there was a whole bunch of cosplay. Let me get to Sunday here. But it seems like there's Be a Better Fan, the video games, cosplay media panel, Nerd Check, Nerd Fashions, let's see, a group photo shot for the second day, then Doctor Who cosplay, and a cosplay contest, adults, and a family cosplay contest, and a day 2 group photo. So it seems like, I mean, it's really focused, which kind of reminds me a lot of what happened at Boston Con last week or 2 weeks ago, where the increasing focus of these smaller conventions is about bringing the local fans into cosplaying, which is fabulous. It brings it down to everybody's level. That's wonderful.
It also seems very much like it's the celebration of fans celebrating their own interests, as it were, rather than kind of like about the actual content, because there doesn't seem to be as many special guests as such.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
definitely.
there are one or two, but not many.
Yeah. Agreed.
I mean, the other thing I noticed as well, just in the background when we were the camera swung round, there was a massive pile of water bottles as well. How hot is it in Escondido at the moment?
It's actually pretty nice this weekend. Yeah.
I think today the high is supposed to be mid-80s, I believe.
Great.
81 when we left the hotel just now, so. Yeah.
It's
That's
nice enough. I think that's nice and toasty.
Nicer than it was in San Diego.
Yeah. It was during Phoenix in May when I went to Phoenix Comic-Con. The day we left, it was 117.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm hearing good predictions for the weather next weekend in New York City. I think the high is going to be in the neighborhood of 80. So I have my fingers crossed for a very good Star Trek missions in New York City at the Javits Center. That's kind of that's key to doing the fast walking with that SDCC fit thing that is happening. So.
See, that was a case of Alyssa managing to shoehorn 2 plugs at the same time there. I thought it was very, very, very impressive. But we'll get back to that. So just to wrap things up, Samantha, I mean, the pair of you as well. I spotted a lot on social media that, I mean, like I say, this is very much a celebration of fans being in the room with other fans. And the nightlife seems to be a big reflection of that. It was a big karaoke party last night. What's on the cards for this evening? I mean, do people stop around on a Sunday, or do they end up disappearing?
I don't know. I don't think there's any other big parties tonight. They're VIP exclusive parties. But I'm not sure.
Will the pair of you be heading out?
Yeah, I don't plan to stay here for the whole day, probably just till the afternoon. And then I'll head 20 minutes away to my home.
Fair enough. Dan, I know you're the big party animal, so would you be...
You're a party animal.
No. No.
Fair enough. Excellent stuff. Well, listen, thank you very much indeed for bringing us a little bit of a taste of. I mean, I know that the day is really just getting started, I suppose, for NERDCON. But we'll let you get off and enjoy the rest of your event. Have yourself a great weekend, and we'll hopefully speak to you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Excellent. The wrong side.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye. So there we go, a little bit of a taste of NERDCON 2016. As you can tell, it was very much kind of very spread out in the Escondido Springs, but lots of little rooms and very kind of self-managing, as it were. It's very kind of like friends coming together, fans coming together. I thought that was really nice and intimate. I enjoyed. Alyssa, what did you think?
I thought it was great. What I particularly liked, and I tried to say this probably not very artfully earlier, but I'm really enjoying the resurgence, or not the resurgence, but the surge in individuals cosplaying. I mean, to have a cosplay panel devoted to cosplaying with your family, to get the whole group of you together was brilliant. And the fact that it is such a neighborhood con is very nice also. So you could just go down and show off what you're doing, get some ideas. The designer that was on earlier today was fabulous. I love the everyday cosplay concept. One of my bloggers did a post on this from I think last spring, of just how to cosplay from your closet, of just taking things and putting it together in such a way that it suggests a character without being, I am cosplaying as Iron Man.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say that the Star Trek, while I did say you could in fact just wear it out because of the way that the design and the cut and the lines of that particular outfit, it was very strict in terms of you knew it was a Star Trek outfit. I mean, I identified it with the lines. It was a motion picture 1978 design. You knew that, but that's how that really subtle design works. I mean, when we have seen the stuff that we've seen over the course of this weekend, and it really did look like one of those kind of like child's, so like the underoos things that you buy at supermarkets. I was slightly disturbed by that, but there we go. We are going to be joined very shortly by Shane CHEBSEY. He's getting himself technically set up. He's turning up his laptop as we speak. But before we get to Shane and before he joins us, let's talk about what you were saying just then, because you were talking about what you're getting up to next weekend.
I'm going to be at Star Trek missions. I am. Mike and I are both doing Star Trek missions at the Javits Center, NYC, next weekend. I've also got my companion editor-in-chief from the blog is going to be there on Saturday too. On Friday, it looks as though that there's a lot of gaming panels. So I think that's what my focus will be on Friday. But the amount of Trek talks that are being put on by NASA at this show is phenomenal. I mean, it's in San Diego quality of guests and people who are coming. So I am massively looking forward to all of the science talk that's going to be happening. You know, science for us, science fiction types, for us, you know, geeky nerd types, not, you know, not hardcore, oh, I'm doing a paper in science kind of stuff. What I'm hoping to do is to put, to record a bunch of the Trek Talk panels and put them up on SoundCloud and link to them in my blog, my daily blog posts that I hope to do. Now, this is all, you know, this is all future planning, so we'll have to see what happens at the show.
Yes, this is where it may or may not come off, but we'll see what happens. We're also going to be talking next week about Dragon Con. Michael P. correctly lets us know that that's happening next weekend. Also, we've got an event that's happening here in the UK, which is NICE. Which is not ICE. It's slightly confusing that we've got these on consecutive weekends, but NICE is an event that's taking place next weekend. I'm going to just dial up some info about that, so bear with me on this one. Interesting in the UK is, while we have the cosplay conventions very much like we've just seen there, but they are very much folded into events such as MCM or the Showmasters events. We don't actually have so much in terms of a true dedicated but what we are seeing in the UK is a resurgence in true comics conventions, which are dedicated purely on comics. I mean, certainly something that I was going to point out with Samantha is that she also bought some jewelry, which she showcased on her Periscope account, which I really would recommend checking out because it's very, very nice, very, very detailed. But while I'm talking about the conventions where you don't see any jewelry, you don't see pendants, you don't see Pop Funkos lining shelves, it's all dedicated towards the creator, small print, and comics artists and writers. Like I say, ICE is definitely one of those events, and so it is NICE next weekend, which is taking place in Bedford. This is their 5th year, and I mean, the guest list looks incredible. Issad Ribic is going to be there, Gilliam March from Catwoman and Talon and Batman. You've got the artist for Image Comics, Low, Greg Tocchini is going to be there, John Bolton, Adi Granoff. It's just an incredible lineup. It really, really is. I'm hoping that someone is going to be there and we'll do a live report as well. So we'll be bouncing backwards and forwards between live reports next week. So should be entertaining. Looking forward to that. Right. Shane is just he's into Gmail. He's just about loading it all up. So while he joins us very, very quickly, we'll just talk about next week. It is going to be a bit of a test run for when Google switches the Hangouts from Google Plus to YouTube Live. So next week is going to be hosted by YouTube Live. We're going to find out exactly what the whole Q&A thing will be and how you can interact with the show. So what we're going to do is we're going to, I'm going to set it up tomorrow. We're going to find out exactly how you can talk to us. I suspect it's going to be via social media. I think it's going to be Twitter, but some people have been telling me there is a method of communicating through YouTube Live. So next week is going to be a bit of a test drive on that one. So that's next week. So yeah, well, we're just waiting on Shane at this point, which is kind of like taking a little bit of time, but as soon as he arrives, I'm sure it'll be worthwhile talking. Go on, so I think you were going to talk about television and upcoming TV. Sure.
Yeah, why don't I go ahead and do the weekend TV just to get that out of the way. I am. I'm turning the page over. The big thing tonight here in the States is The Strain, the return of The Strain. I think it's in its 3rd season. Definitely a lot of following for that show. That's the big event that's happening this week. But there's a couple of other small shows that are interesting. NBC is doing a thing, doing a crowdfunding sourced TV. I've put a link up on the Q&A, which will link you to the page, and you can see how they're doing it. But they're coming up with a couple of pilots, 15-minute shorts, and I was able to take a look at one this morning called Sunset. It's funny. I mean, I'm laughing. It's just it's a group situational comedy, and I usually hate those things, but it was hilarious. Really had a feeling of being there. So take a look at that one. There's also a kids show on Netflix called Kulpar, Army of Frogs. It's about a superhero frog. Which is, I mean, I know, but the production values are supposed to be really good, and the premise is interesting too. So, apparently it was funded by an NFL, an older retired NFL player who had this just desire to create this. So he's committed to doing 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons of this, and Netflix is putting them on. So he's sinking a lot of money into it, and it's not your standard fare. I'm not a big kids cartoon kind of thing, but I am going to check this one out. And so that seems, but the big thing is clear your DVRs off and get ready for the fall season, because it's coming fast and furious. And we're going to be doing, like I'm sure Leonard is going to be doing, geek-focused television, just alerts coming up to make sure that people can understand you don't want to miss a good show that's coming that has, you know, some sort of a geeky reference, you know, a geeky premise to it.
Yeah.
So.
Sure.
But they are out there.
I've been trying to catch up with television more than anything. I am currently trying my best to catch up with Mr. Robot, failing miserably on that thing. But the one that I did have to do, because I happen to not work on... Oh, hello, Shane has joined us. Hi there. We'll just wrap up what we're talking about. Yes, what I did manage to do, because I wasn't working on Friday evening, I and my other half was working very, very late, it did mean that I did cram 8.5 episodes of Stranger Things in one go, which did kind of slightly fry my head. I'm not going to lie, it did slightly fry my mind, but a lot of fun. So do check that out. Lots of fun with those shows. Thank you very much indeed for that week in television, Alyssa. So he's managed to run and get himself through a festival that was taking place. I mean, tell you what, first things first, in case nobody knows who you are, introduce yourself, Shane.
Hi, well, I'm Shane. I'm CHEBSEY. I'm the organiser of the ICE convention in Birmingham, which happens every September, and it's a celebration of comics in all their forms. That's me in a nutshell, really.
How long have you? I mean, there's something that I was trying to work out from my sort of like working around the website the other day. How many years has ICE been running now? Because it's actually not that long, is it?
No, this is the 3rd year of ICE. I've been running shows for 10 years this year. It is my sort of 10-year anniversary of running comic conventions.
He used to have hair flowing down his back. He had colour in his skin. It was, yeah.
Yes, it was colour in the hair as well. It wasn't grey. Yeah. A long time ago. A distant memory now.
Well, I mean, ICE is taking place in 2 weeks' time in Birmingham. So I think if you want to kind of do a little bit of an advert before we really get into the nuts and bolts of it, what, to your mind, are the highlights of what people can expect if they go to ICE?
Wow, there's a lot. There's a lot there. Yeah. Where do I start? We have a huge guest list comprising of top names from top publishers, as well as lots of indie folks as well. And altogether, about 50 guests. And the highlights, I suppose, you've got events going on all weekend. So we've got a charity auction, which is which is for our designated charity Beanstalk this year. That's going on at the end of Saturday. That's going to be really huge because there's stuff coming from artists from all over the world, not just the guests we have there. So that's going to be pretty cool. We've got Gary Kurtz coming in to promote his new book that he's doing. That's going to be really interesting. And we've got an interview with Peter Milligan. We've got interviews with Duncan Fagredo, Lawrence Campbell. Tony Lee's launching a new book. Simon Furman and Jeff Senior are launching a new project. Steve Parkhouse is going to be there. Rob Williams is doing a private signing. And Charlie Adlard is also doing a private signing. There's so much going on. it's unbelievable, to be honest.
I did kind of throw you under the bus there. Yeah. The one thing I noticed from that list there, you were very much talking about a number of the British talent, but there's a number of the international creatives coming over as well, including for their second year, you've got Aftershock coming over as well. Which is a big thing. I mean, this would be kind of like the 12 months of Aftershock because they kind of had their coming out party at ICE last year. I mean, how important is it for you to get the international guests for a UK con, would you say?
Well, for me, it's essential.
Oh, we appear to have lost him. We've lost him! Just when I asked a good interesting question.
I did post a link on the Q&A for folks, just to kind of give them a moment to come back to us. I did post a link for the ICE Festival, and it looks amazing. Zombie Apocalypse from Zed Events coming to ICE Birmingham.
Hang on, let's see if he's back. Shane, you there? No, I think I'm going to have to tweet him and just find out what's going on. Because, yeah.
Oh no! Oh no!
Anyway, no, keep going. I mean, from you looking at the page that you've got in front of you, I mean, what jumps out at you? I mean, I can certainly go to a number of things that I can see. This is my first look at it, but in comparison to the smaller con that we featured at the beginning of the show, this one is definitely bringing in a lot more of the international comic talent. It would be a show where I would be picking my books out, and for the signings, and the cosplay looks fabulous too. The Suicide Squad Rebirth writer is going to be signing. Rob Williams is going to be there too. Yeah, that was actually quite a late addition to the lineup as well. So excited about getting that organised. I mean, he's going to try and get back to us. He's just messaged that he had lost internet, so he's going to try again. Just to let you know that here in the UK, we're not all just hand cranking our own internet or anything. We're not completely backward, but yeah, he's having
and everything isn't always only Judge Dredd 2000. There are other things happening in the UK aside from Judge Dredd and Doctor Who. So
I mean, yeah. I mean, certainly when it comes to the small print, there's a lot of things happening at the moment in the UK. We're having a bit of an insurgence of small print and indie publishers. So a lot of them are coming and they use conventions like ICE very much as a launching pad for that. Fingers crossed. Is he there? It's so close. Anyway, but if I can refer to last year, I mean, I was really struck by just how it was just lots of little rooms, and you just kind of could wander around this art center and find little gems wherever you hid, just sort of like hiding around in corners. And like I say, there were some panel rooms as well. I think returning again in 2016 are Geek Syndicate, which is a podcast that's run here in the UK by two great guys. They are taking over a room and basically holding panels throughout the course of a day. So there's that, but there's a second panel room as well. So you're going to be having, like we mentioned, Aftershock. So Joe Pruitt and Mike Martz, who are the guys behind Aftershock, are going to be coming along, as well as bringing some of their international talent. Very excited to see Marguerite Bennett on a panel. I've only actually
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Yay!
We can't quite see you though.
Yeah.
Okay.
It won't let me do. It won't let me do camera for some reason.
Voice is good.
We'll go with voice. We'll go with voice. Okay. So we were talking about the kind of like the international flavour and the importance of that. I mean, you were saying that you feel it's vital to have that element in a modern con. Would you say?
Yeah, it's essential. Like we call it an international con, so it's really important for us to have international guests. So yeah, I think I just got the sort of end half of what you were saying there about Aftershock, and yeah, they are returning this year. Mike Martz unfortunately can't make it. I think he's a little bit busy with some family commitments and stuff. So we've got Joe Pruitt instead, who is, I think, entitled the creative director or something like that. And so he's sort of a mover and shaker there. He's making a lot of things happen, and also writing a lot of the top titles as well. And we've also got Marguerite Bennett.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's doing the Black Eyed Kids series for Aftershock, which is just a very disturbing read. It's certainly something you don't want to read late at night. It's one of those very much harking back to kind of like the John Wyndham stories. Very, very cool. And yeah, like I say, Marguerite Bennett, whose new book launched about 2 weeks ago, which is Animosity. So very much interested to hear what she has to say as well. Certainly when it comes to putting on a con nowadays, especially something like this, obviously takes a lot of support. And you've had some challenges this year, haven't you?
We have indeed. Yeah, we lost our Arts Council funding, which is obviously a big blow, because we had a 3-year plan, and so for the last 2 years we've been funded, and then for the last year we lost our funding. So it was a matter of trying to find something very, very quickly, and CBCS stepped in and saved the day, pretty much out of nowhere, really. I was contacting one of the partners that CBCS were a partner already, working with us, and when I heard about the Arts Council thing, the first people I contacted obviously were my partners, and Lee at CBCS UK said, "Hold fire, don't postpone the show just yet. We might be able to help." And then he went on this one-man crusade basically to persuade the rest of the guys over in the States to help us out, and they were great. In all fairness, as soon as they heard the news and as soon as they realised what was going on, they just stepped in and helped us keep the show going. So everybody who benefits from the show, they have those guys to thank.
Absolutely. I mean, I think this really kind of reinforces just how con culture has kind of exploded, but it's also grown to a point where it is very difficult to kind of put these events on, and help and support and financial support really does come in handy. But it also highlights just how precarious that can be. I mean, I know that the Arts Council funding is very much vied upon by a number of conventions here in the UK, and at the end of the day, we are now looking at conventions on almost a weekend to weekend basis, and they are all growing in stature. Indeed. And they all need that support. And to have certainly council support from our own government, it's very unfortunate that they do kind of, and it was such last minute as well. I think that's the thing that was really kind of disheartening, I can imagine.
Yeah, it was really a blow, to sort of have everything ready to roll and then suddenly not be able to do it. But these things happen. You just have to. So you see them as obstacles, and to be overcome. And I know that's a bit of a cliche, but it's true. The alternative is to roll over and give up, and just say, "Oh, I'm just." But the people who will be let down by that, it's insurmountable, really. I don't want to let anybody down.
Well, I mean,
so it was a real turnaround.
Yeah. It says a lot as well that you had so much support as well from the creative community. I mean, pretty much every
Yeah.
single person that is a name guest on the bill, all of them jumped in and said we need to save this con, and they do find it a rewarding event, not only just to meet the fans, but also to network, because the show is actually, although it's technically held on a Saturday for the kind of like the Comic-Con end of it, it's a two-part event, isn't it? Explain how it separates.
Well, actually, ICE is part of the International Comic Industry Conference, which is made up of the International Comic Expo, but also Comics Uncovered. So Saturday is the public part of it, really, which is basically a normal con where the public can come along, they can meet the artists, and it's a really fun day out with 2 events programs. But it's really about exposing comics to the general public. Whereas Comics Uncovered is very focused to the creative side of things. So we've got workshops, seminars, portfolio reviews. It's 100% focused really on helping people network, find work, get advice, make contacts, all that sort of thing. It's a real sort of hub of creativity, and it facilitates ideas really, and enables people to get together and make things happen. And there's not a lot of that going on. I don't think enough of that going on in the UK.
Well,
trying really hard, but
in general, it seems in general, it seems that when the creators get together, they don't see each other very often, because so often they're working, in private in their studios, and to get them all together in one spot is quite empowering to them. I did I was part of a get together that Marvel had, a 75th event that Marvel had, and we had all of the just probably 100 creators all in one private area where we as fans could ask for autographs. But instead of interacting with the fans, they were all interacting with each other, because they hadn't seen seen some of these people in 10 years, and they were just so interested in talking. I had Walt Simonson go, "Oh, I haven't seen this person," and they all they wanted to get the group photo of them all together, because you never see that. So that's a brilliant thing to have.
I saw a lot of that. I saw a lot of that last year, actually. A lot of creators sort of getting together for the first time in 10, 20 years. And it's really nice to witness, And we've got a lot of people coming this year. A lot of people contacted me, professionals. They just said, "Can I just come along?" Because they'd heard about what's going on. And there's not a lot of that going. Most conventions, they're very isolated from each other, or it's just a quick drink in the bar. Whereas here, apart from their specific events that they're doing, they pretty much have the whole day to talk to each other. I think it's quite attractive to professionals, which is good, because that makes it a good environment for the people who are coming to get the advice from the professionals as well, because there's more people there, and it's better for the fans because there's more guests. So yeah, I think what we're trying to do is create something that's good for everybody, because I think a lot of events focus on making it good for one group. Let's make it good for the exhibitors so they'll make lots of money. Let's make it good for the fans or whatever. But if everybody enjoys it equally, I think you have a much more successful event.
It was definitely a positive vibe last year. I mean, it was my first time attending last year, and the sense of positivity was really kind of it was quite overwhelming, quite frankly, because it was great to wander around and actually see people that were very much driving, not towards because there were some established guests there that were very much people with a lot of heritage and a lot of industry behind them, but they were all looking towards future projects, and I found that very very empowering. Certainly for yourself, I mean, it's always the same case when you're hosting a party. It's very difficult to enjoy yourself. Do you get the chance to give yourself a chance to enjoy your own work, as it were?
I probably don't get to enjoy it in the way that everybody else does. But yeah, there's lots and lots of moments of satisfaction because it's in seeing everybody else enjoy themselves, I guess, which is what I enjoy. You know, I suppose I enjoy putting on a good party, putting on a good event. If I didn't enjoy this, I wouldn't do it because that is the only reward. Is that reward? There is no financial reward for me. So you know, I have to enjoy it. So yeah, it's extremely satisfying to put the event on and for it to be successful. And I hope, you know, that comes across to everybody who attends. I hope that I like to think that that sort of positive vibe that you were talking about is universal to everybody who attends.
Sure. I mean, you were talking about the 3-year plan there, and we were talking last week with Rachel Hine, who was the editor-in-chief of Nerdist. She was instrumental in putting on the Carnival event, which was the off-site event at San Diego Comic-Con. And we were asking her about what the timetable was to actually put something like this on. When did conversations take place about ICE 2016? Was it pretty much the Sunday night of last year?
Yeah. I mean, I had guests lined up as far back as late 2014 for this year. But yeah, I mean, the conversations pretty much start immediately after the previous show, the serious conversations.
Because I know you, like I say, we were talking about Rob Williams, and that was kind of last minute. So is it really a case of?
Oh yeah, totally.
He's really just falling into gear, really up to the final seconds, really.
Very much so, yeah. I mean, you have to put things into place, so the nuts and bolts are all there very early on. I mean, Cole Potts, who's our sort of star guest, you could say, I suppose, was arranged 2 years ago, you know. But Rob, yeah, just contacted me, and I think he contacted me. I think that was how it happened. Said, you know, I'm available. Would you like me to come along? You know, wow. And Steve Parkhouse as well recently just said that, you know, he would like to come along. I think Dark Horse instigated that. I got the impression that he was sort of coerced into joining Peter Hogan because they're doing a panel to promote the new Resident Alien book. So I think that's how that came about. But yeah, it's great. And obviously when you've got the nuts and bolts there, the basics, so you've got your international guests, you've got a good selection of British guests and, you know, surrounding area, European, all this sort of stuff, and you have your events planned and all this sort of thing. When the last minute things happen, you just accommodate them and you sort of, yeah, let's add it to the show. And you have to have a structure that's quite flexible to allow for extra people to take part. You have to be able to make changes very late in the day because things happen. You know, anybody who organises an event will tell you that, you know, on the day before the event, things happen that can totally scupper your plans. So yeah, you have to be prepared for that. So it's both extremes really. It's extreme forward planning, but also extreme flexibility at the last minute.
Well, I think I can say, as somebody who organised a panel at Comic-Con this year and had things kind of fall apart literally at the last second, I think I can kind of show some kind of sympathy on that one. So one thing that we were talking about while we had a little bit of a technical issue was about the resurgence in the UK at the moment of small press and indie press at the moment. When it comes to I mean, the one thing that really struck me about ICE was the big room of indie and small press, and they are dotted around the entire convention as well. Is it a case of the small press approaching you, or do you kind of put the feelers out? I mean, is it a case of everybody calm down? Is it kind of almost a wall of these creators coming and contacting you?
Well, to be honest, I mean, I've known a lot of these guys for many years because I used to be a small press distributor. That's how I sort of started, really, through Small Zone. So I've always been a promoter of the small press. That's where I come from. You know, I'm a small press publisher myself. So that's I suppose it's something I have a lot of love for, and it's very close to me. You know, so I've always had that connection. So there's always been a lot of people who will go to my shows because they know me, But every year I'm amazed by the amount of new creators who are just appearing, seemingly out of nowhere. Lots of really young creators from all backgrounds, from all walks of life, which is really encouraging, you know, and lots more female creators now as well, which is really good to see. Getting involved in comics and doing their own comics, and at Thought Bubble you can see this as well, very much so. There's a big indie scene there. So I mean, these guys, we offer them a cheaper table, so to allow for it to be affordable for them to exhibit at ICE. And we don't curate as such, really, at the moment. We're not at that point. I want to try and give people free rein to just come along and exhibit. It hasn't got quite to the point where I'm having to turn lots of people away. So pretty much anybody really who wants to be part of ICE as a small press person can do so. It is getting close to the point where I am going to have to sort of maybe pick and choose a little bit. But I really don't want to. You know, if it gets to that, I'll probably just make the show bigger.
Well, I mean, the one thing I was about to say,
yeah,
I was about to say there. I mean, the space that you've got at the moment is a labyrinth of small rooms and lots of space to fit people in. So it's great that you give the small press that freedom. I think that's fantastic. Another thing that just to kind of wrap things up, as it were, about. You were talking about the workshopping and the networking of people, and I've yet to attend the legendary ICE party on Saturday night. Is it a case of a one big networking event, or is it a bit of a chance for a lot of people to just let their hair down and really kind of relax and enjoy themselves?
I think it can be whatever you want it to be, really. I mean, it's quite a chilled out event, you know. It's busy. I mean, we've got all the pros there usually, but then quite a lot of fans as well who've paid for their, you know, the VIP tickets. So it is quite legendary. It can be whatever you want it to be. I mean, a lot of people do use it for networking, especially if they can't make the Sunday party, which is the networking party. So they'll do their networking on the Saturday. For a lot of people, it's just getting to know people, maybe. For the guests, some of them might not know each other. It's a nice chance for them to get together. A lot of fans, a lot of small press people sometimes come as well, and small publishers, and do their little bit of networking with each other, mostly. So it really performs a function, lots of different functions for lots of different people, you know. And I quite like that. It's very varied. For me, it's just a chance to breath and take stock of what's coming next.
Cool. Well, if anything, I'm going to use it as an opportunity because I've never seen a drunk Sean Phillips yet, so that could be of some interest to me.
But there's something that happens when, you know, after people have had a couple of drinks, as Leonard was saying. But there's something that happens when people are together in the same room that you cannot capture on Skype. There's a creativity of idea bouncing that just naturally occurs, and yes, with a pint or two or three is helps the juices. Well, and that's where the great projects come from. You know, down the road, you may not see the results in a year, you know, within the next couple of months, but you might see them in a year or two. So that's brilliant. That's wonderful.
Yes, you can fully expect.
I totally agree.
Yeah, a couple of months' time. Yeah. We're starting this comic off. We've agreed to do this thing. We were hungover. What can we do? Excellent. So it's taking place in 2 weeks' time. Are tickets still available for ICE for people to attend?
They are.
You'd like to tell us about?
As far as I know.
If you'd like to tell people how they can get their tickets.
If they just go to smallzone.co.uk, which is the easiest web address to remember, I think. Tickets are still available, as far as I know. I am keeping a check on sort of how sales are going, because there is a slight possibility that we could sell out, but hopefully not, and hopefully there'll still be tickets on the door as well. Because it's always really nice for people just to be able to turn up, and especially we get a lot of curious people every year on the door. I'd say half of our attendance last year was probably on the door. So I don't want to lose that, because those are new people usually, and they're curious people, maybe people who haven't read comics before. So for me, it's really important that people like that have an opportunity to come in ICE, because we are in the centre of the city.
I did just
so it's essential, really.
Take a quick look, and it looks like everything is still available for purchase through your website. So you use Everbright. Am I on the right site?
That's the one. Yeah.
Yep. Great. So yeah, everything is still available. Even early bird adult passes are still available for 12.
Yes.
For 12 pounds. So yeah, if you're looking for something to do on a Saturday or Sunday, that sounds like a great, and just want to try something new and different. I would love to come to it. Not quite enough to pay for a plane ticket over.
I think Shane will tell you he's getting there. He's getting there. But there we go. Excellent stuff. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, because I think it is definitely a highlight of my convention year. Just the talent that's involved is just makes it worth braving the one-way system of Birmingham to come in and to attend. So very much looking forward to it. Shane, thank you very much indeed for coming on and talking to us about it.
You're welcome.
Where can people find you online, and where can people find out about ICE?
Well, as I say, smallzone.co.uk.
Okay. Because you're also on Facebook, and you're on Twitter as well, aren't you?
That's right. On Twitter, it's ICE Comic-Con, and on Facebook, it's also at ICE Comic-Con. Nice and easy to remember.
Excellent. Brilliant. Shane, thank you very much indeed for joining us. We'll let you get off, because I know that you've been kind of working on Sundays, so you can have at least your Saturdays free. So I know that you've been very busy today. We'll let you relax and enjoy the rest of your Sunday and your because it's Bank Holiday weekend here in the UK. So we'll let you get off. We'll let you get off and enjoy the rest of your Bank Holiday weekend, sir.
Oh, Shane, thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. Lovely to speak to you again.
Good luck with the show.
2 weeks' time.
Thank you. See you soon.
Take care. Right, so there you go. That's Shane CHEBSEY talking about ICE, the International Comics Expo, which takes place 2 weeks' time. Hopefully, I'll be able to do a live report from there, certainly as the show kind of winds down. Looking forward to seeing some amazing talent. I know, like I say, Marguerite Bennett, I'm a massive fan of. Laura Sanapo, who is an incredible talent. Looking forward to meeting her. Just some amazing names. So hopefully I'm also going to be recording a number of the panels. So keep your eyes open, and we'll do what we can to bring that on an Englishman in San Diego. Hopefully on the evening of the actual events. So there we go. So what did you think about that, Alyssa?
That sounds amazing. So it just occurred to me that I'm going to be out of office for the show next week, and you're going to be out of office for the show the subsequent week, so to speak. So we probably won't get a real show like this again to experience the new changeover for 2 or 3 weeks now.
Well, I mean, we're going to do a bit, like I said, we're going to do a bit of a test drive next week. I am going to be at my computer. We're going to be here, and we're going to be hosting it like this. So at least we'll be able to do a test drive of the new YouTube live setup, but that'll be next week. So yeah, we'll have at least a little bit of a test drive. We'll see how it goes.
Good.
Excellent.
So next week is Star Trek, and hopefully we'll be able to find somebody from Dragon Con.
Hopefully someone from Dragon Con. Hopefully someone from NICE, which would be cool. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We've got a lot of things to talk about. I'm sure things will happen over the next 7 days, which will allow us to have a lot to talk about next week. So there we go. Excellent. So where can people find you online, Alyssa, to wrap things up?
People can find me at friendsofcc.com/forum. I'm on the forum as Alyssa. We also do a blog at friendsofcc.com and on Twitter at friendsofcci. But don't you want to talk about your Patreon support?
Well, I can talk about that as well. Yes, you can find me on Twitter, Englishman SDCC. You can also find me on let's think, Facebook. You can find me on Google Plus. You can find me on Pinterest, even though I don't really use it that much. Instagram, I use a lot. I will be using Instagram a lot during ICE in 2 weeks' time. So do follow me on that, Englishman SDCC. Englishman SDC is also where you can find me on Patreon. If you go to patreon.com, we are in the process of developing something rather exciting, and I'm kind of giving some people some behind-the-scenes stuff on the Patreon account to kind of give back to those people who are supporting us. But if you do want to give back to the Hangout and allow us to keep doing what we're doing, please do support patreon.com. You can support on a monthly basis. You can support post by post. It's entirely up to you. Any way that any pennies that come in allow us to keep doing what we do. So there we go. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Like I say, next week it's going to be a little bit different in terms of how we promote it, because we are going to be going and we're coming from YouTube Live. So we're going to see how the mechanics of all that works when I set up the Hangout as of tomorrow. So bear with us. Right. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Back again next week. And we'll see you for another Talkin Comic-Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego.
Next week.
Have a great 7 days. Bye-bye.